Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Luca Rioli and this is Italian Discovery. So last week we were looking at the Grand Tour. The Grand Tour, especially the one that the poet Goethe took, because I was trying to answer the question which is the best tour of Italy. And in my opinion, I found out that this probably was the most complete tour of all of Italy. So we left our poet Goethe, poor boy. He was last week in Bologna. So he crossed the border, he went to Verona, as we said, Venice, and all the way down to Emilia-Romagna and finally to Bologna. In this week, he reached finally Florence. Florence, as you know, is also my hometown, so I can spend hours and hours in talking about my hometown, my city. But of course, we don't have all the time, or at least I think you would be a little bit bored about by the end. Therefore, I will give you some few description and few things, maybe some insight on what to do in Florence. Then we will go to Assisi and we will finish in Rome, the Eternal City, where he actually spent a good amount of time in Rome. But before we go there, let's roll the intro. Okay, and welcome back. Before we start, if you are a travel professional and you sell Italy as a destination, or if you are not a travel professional but you would love or you are interested in getting to know more things about Italy, what to see, what to do for a vacation, or just because you love Italy, well, remember to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell to stay updated. As I was saying, he was going from Bologna to Florence, down to Florence. So probably he took the old road and he crossed the Appennino, the mountain chain that is dividing Italy east to west. As you know, we do have two main mountain chains in Italy. One is the border of Italy, north side, and the other one is going to divide Italy from east to west. Of course, today it's easy to travel from Bologna to Florence. There is a fast train. It takes about 35 minutes, so it is also a good way and then a good option if you are in Florence to go for a full day or maybe just 2 days, but it doesn't take that long, just to Bologna and coming back. Goethe finally got to Florence. Unfortunately, I have to say he didn't spend that much time in Florence, only one day, because he was craving to get to Rome. It was probably his dream. Of course, Florence is one of those cities that he spent only one day, but you need more days to visit the entire city. There is so much to see. In Florence, there are some of the most important museums of all of Italy, like the Uffizi Gallery. The Uffizi Gallery, beside the fact that you have to line up or to make a reservation in advance, because of course there are a lot of people queuing up there, but you could admire masterpieces from Botticelli, Giotto, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, you name it, all the Renaissance. The Renaissance, as you know, has been born in Florence mainly during the Medici time, and at the time Florence was probably the richest city in the entire world. Of course, all the major artists were coming to Florence, and all the masterpieces are still in this city nowadays. In Florence, you can also visit the famous cathedral with the dome of Brunelleschi. And there are so many other things, like the Museum of the Academy of Fine Arts, where you can see the original of the David of Michelangelo, which is probably one of the most known statue all over the world. And not only, there are so many other hidden places in Florence that generally people do not see. Of course, the Pitti Museum is one of those. The Bargello Museum is another one. Are full of masterpieces and arts. But as you know, when the groups are coming or when the travelers are coming, they don't have a full idea of what there is to do and to see in the city. Therefore, they just spend few days. My suggestion would be go to a travel professional or contact us and ask for ideas. And when you're in Florence, of course, you can also do some tours and excursions. Those are not part of the Grand Tour, but when you're here, how can you not go to the Chianti region, which is famous all over the world for its wine? And you could have a great lunch, maybe in a little trattoria or osteria with a T-bone steak, Florentine style, and a good bottle of Chianti, sipping your wine. Siena is another city that it's a must to see. It's absolutely beautiful. There is a lot of art. There is a lot to see. It's a very small city. It's a little gem. My opinion is to do a tour. Maybe you could spend a few days in the Chianti region also, and you could travel from Siena. There are a lot of different little places like Asciano in the countryside. It's probably one of the most photographed area of all of Italy, the area that is going south of Siena. Therefore, why not spending a few days if you are here? Then we are going back now to the Grand Tour, and after Florence, Goethe went to Assisi. The road from Florence to Assisi, it is suggested to do by car. You could also take a train, but it's going to take forever. There are no rapid train that connects the two cities. Therefore, my suggestion would be to have a car. Maybe you want to experience the thrill of driving in Italy, or you could have a private driver, and you can get to Assisi. Before you get to Assisi, as I was saying, Perugia, it has a great university. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. You could find great chocolate. You remember Perugina, the Bacio Perugina is from Perugia, and from there you can go to Assisi. Assisi is well known all over the world, probably because of Saint Francis from Assisi. Saint Francis lived there, and today you can still visit the Basilica of Saint Francis of Assisi. This is a Franciscan monastery, and it started the construction around 1228 and has been completed around in 1253. Yes, I'm not really good with dates, but these are the right dates. Inside the basilica, you could see also masterpieces from Cimabue, from Giotto. They are there. It is a must to see, of course, either if you are Catholic or not. It's still a great place to visit. The aura that you can feel around there is it's sort of mystical. It is really precious. So my suggestion would be to spend a night in Assisi or maybe in Umbria, because Umbria has a lot of small location. It is more or less like the countryside of Tuscany, and it's super beautiful. There are a lot of small villages, small hotels, very nice. Maybe you could find one, or you can ask us, with a swimming pool, and you can enjoy the rest of your day before you get to Rome. Rome, the Eternal City. Well, Roman history spans about 28th century. While Roman mythology dates the founding of Rome at around 758 before Christ, the site has been inhabited by much longer, and this makes Rome one of the oldest continuously occupied city of Europe. Roman history has been among the most influential to the modern world, from supporting the tradition of the rule by law to influencing the creation of the Catholic Church. In Rome, of course, there has been a lot of different era or historic era. So from the prehistorical, the period of the Etruscan, the Rome Republic, and then the Roman Empire, and then going up to the medieval time, the Roman medieval time, and the Renaissance. But probably the most influential for everybody, and still the period that you could still admire mostly, is the Roman Empire time. But let's see together which are the main sites that you could visit while in Rome. Probably the monument that most represent Rome and the ancient Rome is the Colosseum. The Colosseum is probably the largest amphitheater that has been built. This amphitheater was built around 70, 80 after Christ, and it was able to contain approximately 60,000 people. Now we should imagine, we probably, all of us have seen movies with the Colosseum, the most famous, the Gladiator. Exactly, this was taking place inside the Colosseum. The Colosseum was the place where the Romans were used to perform their shows, or the emperor wanted to give to the people, to the Romans, this show with the gladiators, but not only the gladiators, there were also ship battle. They were fulfilling the Colosseum of water, and there were ships that were reenacting the famous battle. It was a sort of also political advertising for the emperor to the people of Rome, and therefore it has a lot of different uses. Today you could visit the Colosseum. Once again, there is a lot of queues. Sometimes it's hours and hours and hours. We do strongly recommend, once again, to do the reservation in advance. If you want, you could ask to your travel professional, the travel agent you trust, or contact us directly. That's up to you. But this is not just the only thing that you could visit in Rome. Of course, there is the Roman Forum, the Domus Aurea, the Pantheon, the Trajan Column, and so on. You just say there is, once again, you can spend days in Rome and you will never get bored. So we get also to the other part of Rome, the Rome during the Renaissance, and for sure the most precious, the most beautiful, unbelievable treasure that we still have from that time is the Vatican Museum and the Sistine Chapel. The Sistine Chapel is, I don't know if there are words to describe. It's breathtaking, marvelous, you name it. I mean, you get to the Sistine Chapel and you're there and you see all around you, you are surrounded by the Last Judgment of Michelangelo. It's absolutely one of the most beautiful masterpieces I ever seen in my entire life. The Sistine Chapel is located within the Vatican Museum. The Vatican Museum, as I said, like every single museum in Italy, is packed with people outside. So once again, we do recommend to do a reservation before you get there. Otherwise, you will spend hours and hours in queue. And what's the point to go to a city and just wait hours in queue and maybe just being able to see half or even less than half of what you were planning to see, just because you don't want to spend few euros for the reservation fee? In my opinion, there's no reason to do that, but it's up to you. So the Vatican Museum are one of the largest collection of arts in Italy. And as I say, the Sistine Chapel is the most precious part of it. You could enter the Sistine Chapel just before they open the museum. Therefore, you will be there with few people. When I say few people, it is about 100 to 100 people compared to the 1,000 that you may find generally. So it is an intimate moment. I strongly recommend it. It's absolutely fantastic and you will remember for the rest of your life. Rome is not just art and history. There is much more to see. There is, for those that love the movies, there is Cinecittà. Cinecittà is where all the Italian movies were filmed and you could visit. There is a reconstruction of Florence, of the ancient Rome, Florence during the Renaissance and the ancient Rome. It is a great experience, especially if you have kids. Another great place to go is Trastevere. You get there at night, it is crazy. All the restaurants are open. You could enjoy a good Roman meal, and you can still walk around, strolling around the little narrow streets and maybe having a nice gelato in summertime. It's always a great idea. And here it ends up the second part of this video about the Grand Tour. Once again, I thank you everyone, and please subscribe here if you haven't. Send me comment if you are interested in any particular things. I will try to make videos on those. If you want to know something or if you have any to add, please, I will be happy to answer to all your comment, and see you next time.